So Mossy, a double header here today. We've seen Meath with a comfortable win in the end over Kildare. They were 6 points down at half time, but they just managed to, I think it was 9 points in the end they won by.
Yeah, it was an incredible turnaround in the second half. They they would have been very disappointed with their first half performance. Nothing was working for them. They never really got going, and Kildare actually had a number of wides. They probably should have been further in front coming into the second half. They also missed a goal chance. Kildare wing back had a great goal chance to hit the crossbar and went over. So Meath were just about hanging in there, but first few minutes of the second half, the two early goals really turned the game on its head, and they kicked on from there. And they'd be delighted with the result.
What was the difference? There was talk that there was a wind, but by looking at it, the wind, I didn't know what way it was going. One way it was sort of blowing towards theirs, and the other way it was going across the field. So I don't know, was it maybe they changed their tactics a little bit in the second half?
I think they just went for it a little bit more. Yeah, I don't think it was the conditions. It's blustery here all day, but I think in the second half you could see they came out early on and they started getting support into the full forward line, and that's where the first goal came from. The wing back came forward, Wallace came forward, finished to the net. And it was a really good finish, and I think from that they kicked on and they started driving forward at Kildare, and Kildare lost their shape a good bit, and they'd be disappointed with that. And they'd known really in the backs that really kind of slowed the game down and settled themselves down. And once Meath got a foothold, they kept driving at them, and the goals were there. Now they did create some of the goal chances from turning over Kildare defenders coming out at the back and with good tackling, and they'd be very happy with how it went.
And you just spoke about Joey Wallace there. He came off the bench and he got the goal. I think every sub that came on for Meath managed to score. That's new in Meath football, to see the bench coming off and making such an impact. It's great to see.
It is good, yeah. It's great for Andy Mackey to be delighted. I think they had 2-2 coming in from subs, coming in off the bench, and they've a lot of young guys up front, and you'll be looking at them, and I think that's what they'll need. Any team that's going to keep progressing, you need strength and depth. You need a squad, particularly with the format at the moment where games are week on week, and if someone picks up a knock, you need someone to be able to come in. So they'll be delighted with the impact that came in off the bench.
And some of them had never played in Croke Park. I think Jordan Morris up front, he had never played here, so to get that game under their belt ahead of playing the Dubs now next week.
Absolutely, and particularly for someone like Jordan, he had a fine game, and he laid on the first goal, took the second goal brilliantly, and what was impressive was his intent for goal and his eye for goal. Like a lot of guys coming in at that angle may have fisted it over, and he didn't. He went for goal and he was rewarded, and he had a very good game. And look, Meath are going to come in. They've had 12 goals now in their two championship matches. I know 7 down in Wicklow and obviously 5 here today. So they're going to need, they'll likely need goals to try and keep pace with Dublin next week. So it'll be a big boost to them.
We'll move on then to talk about the Dublin and Kildare. It was Dublin-Laois, sorry. They had a very comfortable win in the end. Did they get anything out of it today? We see the likes of, Ulster, we see Donegal getting tough competition against Tyrone. In Connacht, you see Mayo and Galway. Do they get anything out of this?
They will, obviously not to the same extent in terms of getting put to the pin of their collar, but they definitely learn from, and it's something Dublin have been used to dealing with in the last number of years in Leinster. And again, they'll be looking at themselves, probably their own competition within their squad rather than anything Laois put up today. And you saw there was a number of guys probably getting opportunities: Robbie McDade, Tom Lahiff, Sean Bugler, Paddy Small, all kind of getting starting games, big games in Championship for Dublin. And you see it with the guys coming in, the calibre, like Paul Mannion coming back in. It's his first bit of football this year, so getting a half into his legs will be a positive. And Brian Howard came on. Cormac Costello was excellent when he came on. He had 7 points in 20 minutes from frees, play, a mark. Like he was excellent. So they'll definitely take positives from it, and they'll know that they did a lot of kind of unforced errors and turnovers. They were sloppy at times. So while they were comfortable, there'll definitely be stuff to improve.
We've seen a goal from Kieran Kilkenny. He just caught it on the volley and put it in the back of the net. Seeing things like that, it's a team that's really playing with a lot of confidence.
It is, yeah, and that Dublin goal, it's something teams have seen before here. They're very good at showing out, looking like they want the ball in front and cutting back inside. And again, he was very calm. He was very assured in front of goal today. I think he'd won 4 in the end, and for a while it felt like he wasn't involved at different times, but then he'd pop up and take a really good point. And the goal was brilliantly taken and well set up by James McCarthy with a drive and run through the middle.
And Desi Farlett's his first year in, you would have played alongside him. Was he always someone that you seen, a leader, someone who maybe would manage the Dubs one day?
Yeah, I think so. Desi was kind of coming to the end of his career as I was starting mine, and he was definitely one of the leaders in the dressing room, and he always spoke well, and it was always clear he had a very good understanding of the game and a good football brain. So it wasn't surprising at all to see him transition into management, and he's obviously done very well with Dublin underage teams from minors to 21s, and he did a good job with Nafina with their club team there last year when he took over. So Yeah, he's plenty of experience, and both from his playing days and from management. So I think you can see, like, it's the year that's in it between COVID and how it's been a bit so fragmented. It's been difficult, I'd say, for a new manager to come in. But look, this Dublin team, it doesn't need a whole lot of change. A lot of it will be keeping things going, as Jim had set up, and kind of tweaking little bits and pieces. And games like this are opportunities to do that.
And we'll look ahead now to the Leinster final. So it is Dublin and Meath. Do you remember some memories of battles against Meath? You know, it's a great rivalry.
It is a good rivalry, yeah. Well, it certainly was. Like when we played in the 2000s, we had some great battles with them, and I think we drew with them 2006, and we were lucky to get over them again in the replay that year. And I suppose from a Meath perspective, they'll famously remember the 2010 victory. They scored 5-9 that day, similar to what they scored here today. So they'll obviously be hoping for a repeat performance next week. And I suppose the disappointing thing for Meath in the last number of years is they haven't been as competitive as they would like. But they played Dublin a couple of weeks ago in a league game, the first game back with Intercounty back in Parnell Park, and they had a good performance that night. And I think Dublin only won by 4 in the end that evening. They'll take confidence out of that. They'll take confidence out of their 2 championship performances so far. So look, everyone will fancy Dublin. It'll be heavy favourites, Dublin, going into the game. But this is an improving Meath team. There's a lot of young guys, like you said, who played in Croke Park for the first time tonight. So they'll come in probably with a little bit of no fear, and obviously hoping to deliver a performance.
You never know, we could have an upset. It could be Kerry and Cork all over again. Do you think that the Dubs are on track now to 6 in a row?
Yeah, well, look, they're on track in terms of the same way they always go through Leinster. They've been very efficient in terms of, they're slowly going through the gears. You know, you could see it out there today. When they needed to step it up, they could. So you'd imagine next week would be a tougher challenge for them. It'll bring a different opposition in terms of tactically what they're going to bring. And I think you'll see Dublin try and react to that, and they won't look beyond that. But you can see, obviously, with the system this year, we know the semi-final pairings, the way things go. There's no Super 8s, and there's there's a clearer path. So they do know they're potentially 3 games away from an All Ireland, 3 games to the final. So they won't be looking towards that. They'll worry about Meath next Saturday. But look, they're certainly, as long as they can keep the bones of their squad fit, the bulk of the squad fit, I think they'll be confident enough.
And if we were to look way ahead, say they do go all the way or into a final, who do you think could maybe put it up to them or even stop them this year?
I think, look, obviously they have to get through next week against Meath. I think that the reality is if Dublin play to their best and Meath play to their best, Dublin should win. So they'll be looking to get a performance again next week. But I think after that, look, it is. You know, Donegal have probably been the form team so far. They were obviously the big win against Tyrone in terms of that was so competitive. They were very impressive against Armagh, and I just think that the strength and depth they have in their squad and the mixture, and I think the balance. Their goalkeeper is obviously one of the best goalkeepers in the country as well, Sean Patton, and I think he gives them a big platform as well. So I think Donegal have proven they're probably of the chase and pack. They're probably the ones that have put their hands up the most. I didn't see the Meath performance. We were obviously here today, so I didn't see Meath against Mayo against Galway today. So it'll be interesting to see how they performed. But I think Donegal have shown they're probably the ones that are closest to Dublin at the moment. And if Dublin happen to beat Meath and Donegal beat Cavan, then we'll see that game here in a couple of weeks' time.